Hey there, folks. This is Chris Kozort, the Director of Educational Technology at Bellarmine College Prep in San Jose, giving a formal shout out to NearPod. I've got a little example that kind of describes my whole approach, MO, philosophy on educational technology. What we see here from Mindshift KQED is teacher recommended 50 favorite classroom apps. And what I've seen as a pattern in this line of work over the last 16 years of being involved with it is a lot of stuff like this. Teachers will be given an iPad or some device, and an educational tech director or someone will say, hey, there's 50 apps that are awesome for your classroom, and they're all great. Well, that's not really helpful, particularly for those teachers who are in any way, shape, or form new with using tech or intimidated by tech, or really want an opportunity to just explore one thing and do it well. And so on that note, I have decided this year to really sort of reduce the number of apps that I'm promoting on campus. I kept it pretty limited to begin with, but I've really gotten down to just a few, as in I think 5 this year total for the entire year in terms of promotion of use. And one of them is NearPod, mainly because it just covers a lot of bases. So let me go ahead and pull up why you will love and why I love NearPod. This is sort of a hierarchy of needs here in terms of the content here on my bullet points. It is reliable. I teach currently a classroom, and I use that term liberally, a stadium-sized class, 65 exploring computer science students in one class, one section. And I use NearPod on a regular basis with that class in a theater. It has never failed in that time. We have a great network infrastructure, and that's important, but I've used NearPod outside of this school as well in many different places, and it tends to be extremely reliable. And that's important because when you're introducing new tech to teachers and they're planning lessons, reliability is important, and reliability in terms of it working when you want it to, and it working well when you want it to and need it to, in terms of distributing that content to student devices. And that has been something that they have worked to improve from really good to great in terms of that reliability. NearPod is a supportive group. Anytime I need help, I email, I get quick responses. They have always been great in terms of providing any kind of support that we need, whether it be working with certain content that they have available, or setting up new users, or working with any sort of technical difficulties. And probably most importantly, given that all of that infrastructure works well and the support system works well, feature requests, telling them about substantive teacher feedback that applies to features that are really useful for teachers. They've been very responsive in that development process, and so that's been great. It's an intuitive interface, and you don't have to really dig or hunt very much to figure out how to do what you want to do. And all of that adds to ultimately a user experience that is welcoming to, again, your veteran teachers who really maybe want to just explore something for the first time, or your veteran teachers who are rock stars with tech and want to author stuff and work with people. You really want those folks there on your front lines, either promoting the stuff or learning the stuff. And it is open and available as a platform because of its the level of intuitiveness of the interface, which ultimately allows it to be transformative. But really, that transformative piece is 100% reliant on good teachers and good teaching. Again, going back to those veteran teachers and rockstar new teachers, anybody across the spectrum who is a creative educator who wants to author content, curate content, participate in the ecosystem that is NearPod. It provides a platform to be transformative in teaching. It can also provide a great platform for students to author content, for those who want to flip it around, and whenever they see a new tool like this, they first think, how can students create with this? Well, a lot of our students here also give presentations through NearPod, using NearPod, and experiences. Really, presentations kind of a limited word, and that's what makes it transformative. It's transformative because as a tool, it has allowed us to expand the interactivity of a classroom lecture, discussion, presentation, to become 100% participatory instead of the single guy raising his hand, or the 5 students raising their hands and everyone else listening type of experience. So that has been huge. Again, to look at the intuitiveness of this interface, that kind of speaks to it. I've got a library of content. I can explore content. That community piece is huge in terms of what's available and already there, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel in many cases. And you can join sessions, create them, and look at reports. All these things are very streamlined in what they do. You have a feedback loop element where you can look at reports for what your students did during that presentation. So every class is caught as a formative assessment process if you want it that way. A very easy creation mechanism. Joining a session doesn't require a student to create a login. They simply put a number in, give a name, whatever the name you would like for them to have, or whatever they would want, and so on. And then again, you've got a library of elements to explore. You can create your own, or you can explore those that have already been created. So again, a streamlined process. NearPod allows teachers to use tech to really change fundamentally what's happening in the classroom, as opposed to a traditional instructive methodology where you're in front of the class and the interactivity and feedback loop is limited in scope. This really stretches it out to every student and makes that type of experience much more student-centered than it is in a traditional sense. So that's my promotion for NearPod. I think it's great. Again, it's one of our the only 5 apps that I'm really promoting. It is at the top of my list. So I can't say enough about them, and I highly suggest you check them out.